everyone, continuing working on the Tiguan. This time around we're going to be working on the rear brakes. The reason is that, as I was explaining last time, the rear is dragging a little bit, meaning that it feels that the piston stays engaged and the pads actually keep rubbing on the rotors, meaning that we have perhaps a lubrication issue, or the piston is not traveling the way it should, or maybe the guiding pins are a little corroded. We're going to take a look at this so that I can then take this car to run the safety inspection, because I need to get it inspected. So let's start with putting the parking brake in service mode. On these cars, when you have a switch operated emergency brake, you need to go through the computer in order to put it in the service mode, right? So I'll show you how to do that. Not complicated if you have a little scanner. If you do not have a scanner, there are a couple of other options. You can actually bring some power to the rear of the brakes, to the actual caliper, in order to engage the electric motor and actually disengage the e-brake. This is documented online. I'm not going to go over this because this is not what I'm going to be doing today, but I will show you how to do it using a little ODB scanner. So let's take a look at this first step here. All right, so sorry, it's a little dark. The car is beeping because the door is open. Oh, it just stopped. Perfect. So here we have a little AutoFix 5600 scanner. And what we will do here is go under. I hope you can see this. I'm going to try to keep it as focused as I can. We're going to go for Volkswagen. And special functions. EPB, emergency parking brake, replace brake pads. Okay, please turn the ignition on with the engine off. Release the electromechanical parking brake button, which I believe is the case. Oh, it is not right now. So right now the parking brake is engaged, so I'm gonna have to disengage it. And yeah, that should be it. So let me disengage the brake. All right, so I am sitting in the driver's seat now while filming. So I'm gonna put my foot on the brake pedal and release the parking brake. There we go. Take the foot off the brake pedal. And I'm gonna go okay. Gonna go Audi. Replace the brake pad. Move back the brake motors. This is what we need here. So we're going to do this. And we're hearing, there we go. So we just heard that the motors were engaging in the back. And press OK to continue. And then the plungers in the brake calipers are now reset again. The rear brakes are now completely opened. Switch the ignition off. If the brake pump is not fully retracted, then use a tool to retract it. Okay, so we're good. Now we're good to go. So we're gonna go OK. And we're gonna have to move forward the brake motors once the brakes are done, right? So for now, I'm gonna turn off the ignition. The rear brakes are in service mode or service position, and we're gonna go ahead and look at the rear brakes and see what's happening. Let's do that now. So before I jack it up completely, I'm gonna loosen my nuts. I need to remove the little caps. It's always better to loosen the nuts when the actual car is on the ground, because yeah, so the car is in park, so it's not really going to move anywhere. So you remove these little caps using a little pointy tool, right? Or you use the tool that might still be in your tool set in your trunk. Usually it's right by the spare wheel. There's a little hook that allows you to take these little caps off, right? We're gonna set those aside. There we are. Now we can loosen the the lug nuts. So let's do that. Got my number 17 here. Got my lock key insert. It's right here. And let's go to town. I'm already on my jack here, so it's not as if I was, taking a risk here. We'll start taking them out. And we're good. We're off. You can see already here that it's dragging. It's not freewheeling. Right? Now at the same time, this is the 4Motion, so I'm also carrying the differential in the rear, but still I hear some rubbing happening on the brakes here, so it's not a good sign, right? We usually means there's something going on. So we're gonna take a look at that. Hopefully it's not gonna be too complicated. And there we go. Wheels off. Gonna grab the splash screen here on the way out. Gonna put the tower under there. Okay, so I got a tower locked in place here. So what we're gonna do here is look at the overall condition of the brakes. This side clearly, well, I can feel the differential there, but it's kind of rusty, right? And what I also want to make sure is that my pads are in good condition. So I'm going to move this around a bit. There we go. There's some corrosion. If we take a look at the condition of the brakes, they're actually not too bad. There we are. So pads are still good. The rotors don't have a lot of wear. Not much of a lip on the outside, which is good. I do have replacement brakes actually here. I have new rotors and new pads. I just don't feel like replacing everything, although depending I might end up doing it. So what I will do here, let me show you a little bit better. There we are. So we've got our caliper, got the courier. Everything is kind of crusty, so I'm gonna have to clean this up a little bit. But the brake pads are still okay. If we look at that side here, there's still some life left here. And we know we have electric motor in the back for the parking brake. You can see it here. And so we're gonna clean all this up, right? And what I'm interested in particular are the pins. The two pins here and here. These are our travel pins that the courier or that the caliper is traveling on, right? If these are not lubricated properly, then we will end up having issues with brakes dragging and with pads not releasing the rotor completely, and that could cause the issues that we're having here, right? So we're gonna look into this right now. So the rear brakes are actually not really complicated. You have these two pins are 13 mil. So they're pretty small. I'm gonna go get a wrench. And I have my wire brush wheels as well that I'm gonna use to clean all this. Make sure you wear safety equipment when you do that, because it is rust and it's kind of it's not great to get this into your eyes. So I'm gonna actually use my wire brush first and try to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to use my vacuum, which is over there, my shop vac, and yeah, we'll try to give this area a bit of a cleanup. So our area is cleaner. I'm gonna remove the pins now. comes out nice. It's good, not a lot of resistance. It's actually a good thing. Alright, so one little screw. Well, it's a bolt really. 13 mil. Do the lower one. There we go. Number 2. Now the caliper should come out. So normally it should come out easy along with the pads, right? So you can try out on this. Make sure you have a spring there, so be careful, right? What's interesting is that this is not really coming out easy. It should be really loose because we've removed the parking brake piston, and unfortunately it's really not coming out as easy as it should, which means that the piston might still be engaged, right? And if the piston is engaged, that means it's not completely retracted. If it's not retracted, that could mean that it's not traveling the way it should. I can see the air. I'm just hoping that the boot is fine and that, you know, there's no damage to the piston, which would require the replacement again of the calipers, which really would not be good news for my wallet, because that would be probably another $200 easily. There we go. So this is out. Gonna keep you know, cleaning this up a little bit, and what we might end up having to do is looking behind this boot and find out whether we have any corrosion or anything at all that would prevent it from traveling the way it should, right? Back and forth. And you can tell there's quite a bit of corrosion, and on the bright side the boot seems to be intact, so it's actually good news. But we might need a little bit of lubrication here. So I'm just gonna leave this here. Make sure you don't twist the line too much. We're good here. And what we'll do is we'll do a quick visual inspection of the pads, because the pads are also traveling on little pieces. They're let me actually show you that. So this is our assembly on this side. I'll take my glove off. Yeah, there we are. So we have our pads here. There we go. It's much better. So we have the pads, and on these pads we have little springs, right? Little metal clips. The pads are traveling on these metal clips. So it's not a bad idea usually to lubricate those clips and make sure that the pads are free. But as you can tell, the pad wear is completely okay. We have lots of life left on both. But we will take out the pads. We will take out the springs. And we're going to look into the condition of the pins as well. So this one is moving very freely. This one is moving very freely too. So that's actually a very good sign. Could be just the pads actually not traveling nicely, because you see they're kind of stuck. They should be moving free. So that could very well be part of the problem. We're going to look into the piston as well and see if we can actually take the boot off, or even retract it further. There is a tool for that. I have the set to allow me to do that, and perhaps even put a little bit of lubrication in there to make sure that this is traveling nicely. So I'll try to see how it pushes in. If it pushes in fine, then we'll be good. If it doesn't, and if it resists, then there could be a lubrication problem. But here I'm really tempted to say that these pads are kind of stuck right now, when they really should be moving a little bit more free than what we're seeing now. Now the springs will also keep everything in place, right? So that's not supposed to be super, like necessarily like free, but it should definitely be a little bit more mobile, right? So let's continue looking into this. So one thing that I'll be using is this caliper, so universal kit, right? Which I got quite a while ago. I never actually even used it because I never got the opportunity to use it until today. I bought it for another job and the other job went well. So we got our kit here, which is all messed up, obviously. And the way this works is there is this mobile part here that attaches to the outside, from what I remember. And actually it attaches here. So you put this plate on the shaft, then you move this in. You have to move it back in. I moved it out, but you don't need to. And you use the adapter on the head that matches your brake type. So here on this one, it's got, I'll need to show this to you because it's actually quite important. Let me show you again. Alright, so we have our caliper, and if you look at the print or the pattern on the piston, it's 3, right? It's like a triangle. So we need to find in our kit here the one that matches this pattern, which I'm not seeing here. So we're gonna have to make do with something that's interesting. Actually, I would have expected that this pattern would have been here, but it's not showing up. So maybe something like that would do. Not liking this one too much. So we will, however, have to be using this one because that's all I have really. So this one will clamp, or will actually grab onto one of the openings. All right, so here, not ideal really. I'm kind of disappointed. Like I only have this one that really kind of fits. So we're gonna be using this one here. We'll put it on top. And we will be using our tool that goes right on top. It's got 2 nipples, right? Can't really quite see right here. And they go in the holes. There we are. Then we're gonna reel this in. And there's one tool I'm missing here, which I'm gonna have to go get. It's really hard to do with one hand. This sits on top, this goes here, and this goes in the holes right here. There we go. And then we're gonna unscrew this. The plate locks itself in on the caliper, and we need a what looks like a 17 wrench, which I'm gonna go get. Far from 17 here. And we will be screwing this as if you're unscrewing really, and this should push the piston back in, which is currently happening. That's actually a good sign. The piston is moving fairly freely, so I'm not really pushing hard. I don't want to push too hard either because I want to be able to access the inside of the boot. So I'm just going to take this out. There we are. So we got our piston, it's further in now. Whoops. And what I do want to do is see if I can actually look inside, but by the looks of it, it really looks fine. Like it really doesn't seem to be corroded, like it's traveling nicely. So I don't anticipate there's any issue here. I think the problem is actually more on the I'll do this here. There we are. What we will be looking at is our situation with the pads here. That's what we need to look into. So the pads actually are just sliding on these springs here, right? So you see the metal springs here. here and up here. What we'll do is we'll take them out and we will do a quick service, cleanup of the area, and make sure that we don't have anything here that prevents the pads from moving freely. Okay? This is nice now, like it doesn't really rub or anything, so that's good. So that's our pad, first pad. It's the exterior pad. Again, lots of life left on those, which is good. This is the back. No problem here. Now there is some corrosion here. We're gonna take the springs off. The springs are just clipping on the carrier. Right? This one is actually a little mangled for some reasons. It really shouldn't be that way. There we go. So I'm just putting it, bending it back in their proper shape, and we're just gonna be cleaning up this area a little bit. The pins, I'm not even going to touch them because they're fine. They're really fine. They're actually even bouncing back on the sole effect of the rubber boot, which is really good. That means there's no corrosion there. If it ain't broken, don't fix it, right? So I got my second spring here. I'm gonna use my drill and my wire wire wheel to clean this up. You want to go slow because if the spring actually gets caught in the wire, then it can actually bend out of shape, and if you try to bend it back, it might break. That's wouldn't be good. A little brush here for the area where it's rubbing. Alright, good. Same thing for the top. You can see the dust here. That's the corrosion. We're good here. I'm going to clean up our piston head a little bit. The inside of the caliper. The surrounding area around the boot. And let me take a look here if we can actually see. Yeah, I don't want to touch that because touching that could mean trouble too. If I damage the boot in any way, then I'm gonna have lubricant leaking and everything. It's just not gonna be a fun time. So I think the piston is fine. However, it was traveling nice. We're just gonna do reassemble all of this. I'm gonna use my little nozzle. So one note, these two clips are completely identical, right? They're exactly the same. In other words, you can put them back the way you want. It doesn't really matter. So they do clip on, right? So make sure they're sitting nice and tight. And what we will do here is lubricate them. We want to lubricate the groove here, right here, here, and here that we just cleaned up, because the pads are traveling on this, right? They're actually locked in place, but they do travel on this back and forth, right? And if it's too tight or if it's not really gliding correctly, that could be also a reason why the pads are not coming back to their position. But it's not always a good thing to lubricate a little bit these areas. Obviously, you don't want to put too much lubrication because that would mean that you can end up having a lubricant getting onto your rollers, which again is not a good thing. We're gonna clean up the area that also slides. All right, so that's the one in the back. Other one in the front. All right. All right, so we have the first one here. I'm sorry, the lighting is really not great. I'm gonna put a little bit of lubrication right in the groove here. There we go. Bit of lubrication in the back. There we go. I think I put a little bit too much, so I want to make sure it doesn't get on the rotors. I'll remove some of that. Put it in this one. So just like that. Really, it's more a film that you're putting than an actual like a lot of grease. It doesn't need to be much, really. Okay, so that's the top. Again, it clamps on, right, onto the carrier. All right, so this job is now completed. We've reassembled everything. We lubricated the retaining clips, top and bottom for the pads, cleaned up the pads. We have now a rotor that moves freely, but that's normal because the piston is fully retracted. We retracted the piston too, and it was fairly easy, which means that the piston is not corroded or seized, which is a good thing. Right now, obviously, it's hard to turn the rotor because I'm engaging the differential, right, which is you know, causing some resistance. But this is moving freely. The pins are moving freely. Everything seems to be in order here. So on that side, we're pretty much done. If you ever wanted to replace a rotor at the same time, this is actually very easy. Once you take the two 13mm bolts on top and bottom here, the whole caliper comes out along with the pads. You will need to retract the piston further because your new pads will be thicker, obviously. And you will, at that point, once the caliper is off the carrier, you'll be able to take the rotor out and just replace it. It's super simple, really. So everything looks in order here. I will inspect the other side and see what's going on. Hopefully there's nothing major. And in the event that the inspection station or safety inspection station is telling me that I need to replace the rear brakes, that's going to be fairly simple, as you can tell. I won't do the video for the other side unless if I find something really out of the ordinary that I need, that I think would be valuable to share with you guys. I will make one last little video around the re-engaging the parking brake and putting it back in service. All right, so see you in just a bit. All right, so we have completed the rear brakes. The driver's side was fine, actually, about the same situation as the passenger side. The pads were a little hard to remove, definitely a little kind of blocked in there. So cleaned up all the clips, the two clips, and put some lubrication, and I think we should be good now. So hopefully, and the piston wasn't seized, which was good. So now we're gonna go back to our terminal, which actually remained on that screen, right? It didn't move, and we're gonna move forward the brake motor and go OK. Switch ignition on, continue, which is already on, and we're gonna go OK. Make sure the new brake pads have been installed, otherwise the brake pump may be broken. Press OK to continue. Error in communication with vehicle ECU. Make sure whether ignition switch is on, whether the tester is connected, or whether the battery is on. Okay, so I'm gonna take the ignition out. Okay, okay. And there we go. Our motor is turning right now in the back. And so he went all the way to contact, right, to the brake contact. So when the pads are getting squeezed, then it detected resistance and then it released. That's what you hear. It goes, and then it retracts a little bit, right? So we're now good, and we're gonna go OK, and we're now set forward again. Rear brakes are now closed again. We're gonna go OK, and we're good actually. We're gonna depress the brake pedal and hold the press. Activate the electromechanical parking brake, which just happened. And that's it. That's basically the end of it. What I will do also, actually no, I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna clear the codes as well on the main ECU, but I'm gonna keep that for another video. So stay put, and yeah, let's hope everything is fine now. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.